I am here representing the Alpha, the Omega, the Alive, the Olive, and I am happy that life is essential. This is the essence of life. This is the essence of love. I'm coming with the vibrations and the frequencies that we need to elevate, to be escalated, to be elevated with energy from Orisha, um, Isu Alegba. I'm coming here with that energy. It is Essence Elizabeth, and I am um, thankful to be here and present. This is the present, and in the present, they present things in the present. When we do things, they do things in the past. That's why they have the future, because in the word future, we have the word ter, and in the word tur is two. And it's a Tuesday, and we are turning up, we are tuning up, and we are getting into that energy. That's what I'm bringing. I'm bringing Saturn and Neptune energy. Currently, we are going in Aries. We are giving that Martian energy. We are giving that Ramsey energy. We are giving that great fire, that raw energy, that war energy. That's the energy that we need. We need that heat. We need that for healing purposes. I'm bringing that water energy. I'm bringing my presence, calm, cool, and collected, bringing vibrations. I will not be locked in by locations and ions. So I am here to give a brighter perspective about how the ops cannot oppose us. And that's what I'm going to bring. That is the essence and the consciousness that I'm bringing today. So things are looking up. Um, I have been tuning in, going into myself, realizing with the realize what's really going on, separating, nonfiction from fiction, everything like that, separating different things, realizing that, as a divinator and a priestess of divination, there can be division, there can be separation in it, even when we're using divination and all of these ologies to come together, astrology, cosmology, all of these numerology, all of these things are what divinators talk about, but there's another side of divination that people need to be disclaiming about, DCing about, because with divination comes division. There's another side of it, whether it's Greek, Roman, Egyptian, Kemetic, Chinese astrology. These things have different sides to them. When you know things, you're supposed to do things. With knowledge comes power. So we need to be responsible with the knowledge we have, and we need to ask ourselves, do we want the youth to go through the things that we have went through? What is our purpose? Are we trying to make a better path for them? Do we want to keep on having the same generational curses that we went through, or do we want to abolish them and create something new for them? That's what I'm here. I'm inspired by my upbringing, by my youth, that by my dreams that have actualized in reality in all timelines. And I am encouraging other people to have the courage to end the cowardness. They want to seize the cow. They want to seize the bull. We need to make sure that the children that are coming into the new generations don't have to do these things that we do. They shouldn't have to, be the gang. And you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, you know, we don't know what else to do. So we have our youth, whether they're our siblings, our children, our cousins, do some things to survive, because that's the only way we know. So, we carry them on our backs, and we hold them, and we hope that we can make a better path for them. But we don't really want them in the gang. We don't want to really, we don't want them to have to, sell drugs. We don't want them to have to prostitute. We don't want them to have to use their bodies to go to combat, whether it's sports. We don't want them to have to pour spirits. We want them to be elevated. These are some of the things that I have done. But we don't really want that for them. So we need to find a way, if we're going to be doing these things, let it be good. Dr. Layla Africa was talking about, once the the derivatives from the poppy is extracted from the plant, it's turned into a drug. But if we eat it in its natural form, then it can be beneficial to us. It doesn't have to be extracted. Let's think about that. Let's think about where we're getting these drugs from, and utilize them in its natural form. That's how you really appreciate its raw essence. That's how you really get the benefits from it. Let's embrace cocoa powder. Yeah, cocoa powder in its raw form can be bitter, but it's really beneficial. Once the sugar and the milk is added and there's manufacturing over it, it becomes something else. We really got to be careful about what we're doing to these things, because we have our ancestors in these plants. We have these planets in these plants. That's why they're called plants, because they are attached to the planet. We have chocolate, we have peanut. They go hand in hand with CP, with Cleopatra Ptolemy. And we should really be mindful of the things that we're utilizing, because we don't want to be used and abused by some of the food. I had a friend that was talking about Nestle and some of the awful things that these companies are doing when it comes to food. I know some of you have heard the negative things that companies like Monsanto has brought. They're using esoteric words, powerful spiritual words like mon, which is connected to the moon, sand, which is connected to the sand, toe, which is connected to the fish, which is connected to the feet, which is connected to Martian energy and Mars. And Nestle, it has the word nest in it, it has the word S in it, it has the word Lee in it. They're using these powerful words, but the food that they're packaging in them aren't so good for and healthy for us. So I'm encouraging people to look into farmers markets, fair trade resources, whether in person or online. Do the best we can, because we know when we were younger, the things that we have available now weren't available then. So we know if we keep the movement going on, it's going to be a better future for generations coming. So we have to continue that movement. The laws are better for children, laws are better for people who are employed, laws are better for business owners. Things have gotten better. I mean, yeah, some things have got worse, but it's for better or worse. So I'm encouraging people to not stop, to keep it up, to keep on going and not give up. Never give up, and never let down. We have to have the courage to bring that energy, so we don't have to be cheated out of the life that we deserve to have on this beautiful planet. We don't deserve to, like the foods that we eat are connected to us, are connected to our spirits. That's why they say you are what you eat. It's so important. And it's important that we know where we're getting our food from. We know where it's coming from, because there's a circle of life. And there's the kingdom, there's the plant kingdom, there's the animal kingdom, plant animal that has a lot of APPA energy. So it's important that we do things right. We should try to give back to the plants. We should try to give back to the animals, whether it's if putting out food for street animals is important sometimes. Even having containers where they can have water, even the birds, things like that, because we took a lot away from them for their environment, from their natural habitat, and we have made homes and shelters to live in. So it's important we try to make the animals that are domesticated or not domesticated as comfortable as possible, because they're making sure that we're aligned. When we go to war with each other, when we have discrepancies, when we fight, when people litter, when people try to make stakes and strongholds, the animals are moving around on the ground and flying in the air to clear the atmosphere, to take the negativity out of the chemtrails, to take the negativity out of the land and the rivers. That's what they do. So it's important for us to nourish them. Even the animals that you have at home or garden at home, protecting them, cleansing them of the strongholds, cleansing them of the certain binds that are ours. So we want to give back to them. We want to compost. We want to do as much as we can, so we can pave a better future for the people that are coming. Our energy that we're bringing is attracting people from different planets to come to Earth to have experiences. So we want to open up and have good portals for them to enter and come into. We want to make it better for them, because they are us. They are an extension of us. So we want to continue that ebb and flow. We want to have that cycle where we're doing better for them. We want to treat others the way we want to be treated. So that's what I wanted to contribute. That's what I wanted to talk about and say. That's what my goal is. That's what I'm looking forward to do. And some of the things I realize is, a lot of people want to have a dictatorship. They want to dictate because they want the dick. They want the pen. They want the penis. They want the Venus. They want to claim. They want to frame. They want a name. But see, I can't be dictated. Yes, there are laws that I'm bound to because I created the laws. So, yes, of course, I am a rule and measure. My law shouldn't be broken. But sometimes I wave like the trees and like the branches, and I have ebb and flows, and I bend, but I don't break. That's not something that I'm going to do. No way. Even when people think I'm down, I'm healing myself. I'm thinking of plans. I'm thinking of solutions. I'm thinking of strategies. So that's what we have to do. Sometimes we have to be positive, even if it's playing possum. We got to be serious because these people are trying to divide and conquer us. We can't give them that energy. A lot of people want, you know, a lot of people split up between directions. They have gerrymandering, which is splitting up homes, whether it's people are being registered to vote in different neighborhoods. They have walls in certain neighborhoods. They have bridges that divide certain neighborhoods. They have zip codes. They have different cities, different states, different countries. But essentially, we're all connected. And what they're trying to do is use gerrymandering to try to gentrify us. So we have to be aware of the many takes that these politics is trying to do to captivate us. It's important that we remain focused and that we remain steadfast because we really got to know what we're doing. I spoke about juice. I spoke about how, people realize that, yeah, people are trying to get grams and ounces of our melanin so they can put it in products and so we can be infused with it in it. Bobby Hemmett um, is a master teacher, and he was talking about how the products with melanin in it actually have our people in it. They are actually trying to take our people, okay, away from us and get their melanin and put it back in products. And he had an experience where he was indulging in melanin and actually had a bad dream. And he believed that he was screaming and had the experience of the person that was actually captured by the people who are snatching us up. That didn't end. That hasn't stopped. It's still continuing. So we have to be careful about when we're getting prescriptions of melatonin or we see products with melanin in it because if we get those things, we can't be fooled. Then we're giving permission to it. If we're giving facial recognitions, if we're scanning our palms and giving our fingerprints and buying those locks that have fingerprint IDs, we're giving them permission to actually look at the map. In our hands and in our face is the map to the universe, to the world, to the galaxy. It's all connected. The face is the central control board. If you research reflexology, you'll see the face, the hands, and the feet are connected to different parts of the body. That's something that people can look up and research about. And also, it's just not people trying to take the melanin from us physically. They're taking it from not only the plants have melanin in it, they have energy from the sun, they have juice in it, the water has melanin in it, the honey has melanin in it, any liquid, any plant. So we want to be mindful what it is because really what it really is when people are getting set up by melanin individuals, it allows the people who have calcified, remember I said penis, pineal glands, okay? Speaking about the supposed Nathanaros, it allows them to have power and over principalities that they can't reach. This is their heaven. Earth is Nathanaros' heaven. This isn't it for us. And I'm not the one to be like saying, oh, somebody's better, because if you ask me, I can't tell the difference between, so called friends that want to fry me in the end, who are Nathanaros, from so called family members who want to do the same thing, who are niggas. They're doing the same thing. They're actually working together to set me up and themselves up. So I'm not about to say who's better or judge. I have Nathaniels and niggas in my background, in my history, and in my lineage. Like I said, my grandmother on my mom's side, who's Native American, she told my mom that my lips was too big, making it seem like I was too black, I was too dark skinned. Well, that was my great grandmother, who's Native American. My grandmother, who's Trinidadian, told my dad that I was too light skinned. So one of my grandmothers thought I was too light, the other one thought I was too black. But as long as you got a healthy baby, that's all that matters. Even if you don't have a healthy baby, they're still born, and it can be healthy, and they can be healthy. You know what I'm saying? Me and my father was born with jaundice, and they are really trying to dice John, and we can't have that. We were born yellow, we were born happy, we were born with jaundice. We're connected spiritually, and just with those words, if you think about things like our body parts, with like Dr. Leda Africa says, there's certain words in these labels. Um, the man that I've been with, his mother said we don't really do labels. We don't have those labels because labels are trying to label us. So we have to be very mindful what we're calling ourselves, even saying male, or female. Like I don't have a problem with those, but when they're asking you to check the box about your orientation or your sexual orientation, they're really trying to classify us. They're really trying to get us to identify with certain things, and they're really trying to, like Ivan said, from Egypt when he came over to America. Even though he was our color, they wanted him to classify himself as white. I have one of his books, and he's very powerful. So we got to be really conscious and mindful of what these people are doing. Um, we got to know who's in our life. We have to know the reason why. It's because these people have intention. You need to know some of these people that you just think that you're meeting on a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. In the present, they were pre-sent. They were pre-sent to try to come against me, to come against M, to come against ooh, to come against we, to try to do catastrophic things in the past, present, and future. But we're not having that. We're not having that. And I believe that it's important for us to connect. We know that we've experienced 400 years of slavery. We know King James came to Jamestown, and now there's slavery. There were so many protesters that the whole world was setting up for us in America that have been experiencing police brutality. Not only is 400 years of slavery over, but they're trying to keep it going. They're trying to recycle it, and they need melanin individuals permission to keep it going. We're not going to give them that permission. Purple purpose. We're not going to give them that permission to try to purge us. That's not what we want to do. We're not giving them that power over us. That's what they want because they're scared, and they feel like the only way that they can integrate is trying to eat us because that's the way that they're trying to become us. They feel like they have to, but that's not the way it happens. That's not, they feel like they either got to go to war with us or go to raw with us. And that's not what has to happen. There should be better ways for creatures of all different extraterrestrials and terrestrials of different species and different blood types and ethiogenetics and ethics to come together without all this separation. Um, there has to be better outlets for us. It shouldn't be like this. It's people are desperate because we are waking up. We are connected more than ever before. We have information. We're able to travel quicker. We're getting closer to the point where we used to could be able to teleport. We used to could be able to talk telepathically with our minds. It's not used to. It's still present. We still do that. We talk telepathically with each other. We're able to travel spiritually and be amongst each other. And so things are getting back to that, even though these contraptions try to trap us and try to derail us. We aren't going to be stopped by those notions. We're going to keep it on board, and we're going to keep on floating. That's what I'm hoping for. And I hope that people are realizing by some of the things that I'm saying that there are ways out, that we don't have to be, we don't have to keep on being Essie, spell curse. We don't have to keep on dealing with these things that are trying to bind us, these contracts that are trying to bind us and everything like that. So things are getting better. We don't have to be bitter. We can be better. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you could be better by, indulging in bitters. Those are astringents. Those are different substances that can decalcify us, that can take out calcification. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want people to think that there there are people in all races, Nathaniels and niggas and people combined who have both of those type of bloodlines, that are coming against, um, people who are trying to keep people down. You know what I'm saying? But they'll use a person's bloodline and their lineage to try to do certain things in the past to go against them. So we really need to be mindful of what we're doing. We really need to be mindful of how we're communicating, how we're interacting with each other, because we are sensitive beings and we need to be able to have empathy, and without being empty out, and be sensitive to other people's space and respect their space and their environment. And that's really important because there's invasions that are happening, and we need to not try to be so invasive. um, One of the things that I have realized is that, there has been real lies, and some of the people who are actually setting up dates and things like that. You think that you're just going to this event because it's on a certain day, but really they're trying to come against the Most High. And the people that are around us sometimes are being manipulated, even the animals. So, like I said, I'm currently detoxing from poison, from drugs, and in the detox we have the word tet, which is connected to teddy, and in the word ox we have the word ox, which is connected to oxygen. That's the air that we breathe, which is connected to the ox, which is the bull, which is connected to earth energy, which is connected to territory, the realm that we're in. And in the word poison, we have poise, and then we have sun. So in the word poison, there is the word sun. So, because the pills are in plastic capsules, PC, it seems like what people are with the barcodes on it. It seems like they're trying to take something away from me just by me trying to do better for myself. So it seems like there's more CPs, compromises. There's always compromises when we are trying to elevate, when we're trying to do better in our life, when we're trying to levitate and not be down. They have, like, basically they try to say, oh, we're mad if we do, we're damned if we don't. But they're not going to do that to the madam. They're not going to try to derail us and try to put us in walls where we have no way out. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like, do this, do that. You don't have to do that. We don't have to. We can be better. They are trying to disconnect us. They are using the people with the most insecurities, the most hate in their hearts, to have people come, divide us and try to put their hands on us so they could try to possess us. But we're not for that. We're not going to allow these people in our space. We're not going to allow them to take up rent in our minds. We're not going to allow them to get under their skin because they are literally trying to possess us. Because they feel that they're not good enough for some reason. They are being summoned by entities. Like I said, there's left, there's right, there's legions, there's regions, and people are using this energy to do licks, to do ricks. So we really need to be really mindful of what they're really trying to do with our intel, with our emotions, with our information. They're really trying to come for our heart energy. They're really trying to come for our energy. In the word earth, there's the word art. So we need to be smart. And you can't be smart if you don't use your heart. A lot of people aren't being smart because they're not moving with emotional intelligence. They're not moving with that caring energy. They're not moving, thinking, how can it be good? In the French, we have the word very good, which is très bien. We need to think of things being benign. It doesn't have to be malignant. It doesn't have to be magnetic cancer. It could be benign. It could be dormant. We need to be beneficiaries to each other. We need to be good, Ben, like the energy that they talk about with the Ben energy. Remember, I mentioned Abina, Big Ben, all of those energies that I talked about. We have our lymphatic systems that are underneath our throats. Anywhere that bends, there's lymphs, or underarms, or elbows, or knees, or ankles, or toes, or fingers. Those are where a lot of our ancestors are. That's where they are at. I was told that our grandchildren reside under our arms. You will start to see things where you have hair, even though there's hair all over the skin. There's certain places that have hair, even our pelvic area. We've been there. That's where we do the bowel movement. The pelvic area represents the waist, Orion's belt, and the Libra, the Bilra, the R Bill, the Liberty Raw. That has that energy in it, which has a lot of Ma'a energy in it. And we take a bow, and that's why they have it the 10th month. The 10th month represents the whole cycle of the moons. Once the 10th month is here, that's the bowel movement, that's the bending of the year. So that's why we call it dusk, we call it autumn. That's when the colors of the leaves change and everything. So that's what we're experiencing with the autumn. So we want to be mindful of that. We want to take care of ourselves. We want to be mindful of our lymphatic system, of our lymph nodes. That's where we have our nodes. And in astrology, they talked about the south nodes and the north nodes. And currently, the north node is in Pisces. It entered Pisces on my best friend Heaven's birthday on January 11th, 2025. Months later, they took her out of my life, but me and her are still connected, and I'm going to make sure that her ego is resonating with the world. She will never be forgotten. I'm going to share our story. She is connected to the earth. It's heaven and earth, and they are connected to me, and they're connected to my rising and ascension into Ra, and also my nodes. My north node, it has that energy that they bring as well. And so currently the north node is in Pisces, which is my sun sign. The south node is in Virgo, which is my moon sign. Now, my actual astrology north node is in Capricorn, which actually is sextiling with the north node that's currently going on in Pisces. My south node is the opposite of my north node, which is in Cancer, which has a sextile with the north node of the universe, which is in Virgo, because sextiles is every other sign. So we have Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. That's 60 degrees every other sign. They're going through a sextile and doing the work that they need to do through Saturn, through Neptune in the north. And then in the south, the universe has Virgo. Okay, we have Cancer, Leo, Virgo, every other sign. They have a sextile, and they are doing a sextile between the moon and Mercury, which has a lot of a Virgo uh, energy in it, very Mercury energy. Some people say that a lot that Virgo is more connected to the moon sometimes than even Mercury. That's what an astrologist told me. You should. A lot of people that I name, a lot of people that I've mentioned, um, that I've talked about, pretty much most of the people that I've recommended and suggested to you all or with the gang, but I don't have no ill feelings. They've even done things against me. Sometimes they try to combat it when they're told by handlers to do things like make videos against me, certain topics that they're talking about, the time that they're talking about it, certain things that they say because they want me to watch it, and it's like, oh, are you going to still watch these people that are sneak dissing you that are conscious? My family does it, everybody does it. That doesn't mean I'm about to just stop talking to everybody and stop watching things just because people are in the backgrounds of people's videos and doing certain things, or I'm watching a video that was recorded when I was a baby, but people in the room and people outside the room are doing certain things to get my attention about certain things, to get me to either have a positive or negative reaction to what's going on in the universe that's inside of me, that's inside of M, that's inside of ooh we. You know what I'm saying? So I want people to open up their hearts and open up their minds to think about just a different perspective. What if we don't have to listen to these people that are trying to keep us in this orbiting cycle? These people are trying to eat us. They're trying to become us. They're trying to cross, eat, Eve, Adam, T. We don't need that cross. We don't need that. They're trying to become us. That's not the way to do it. That ain't the way to do it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are really abusing their children about color. Oh, you're too light. Oh, you're too dark. Stuff like that. Oh, you can't be with this person because they're too light or they're white. Oh, you can't be with this person because they're too dark or they're black. Like that stuff really needs to stop because y'all are all in a gang anyway. Y'all all answer to the same people. So why y'all acting like y'all don't want to be friends? I'm the only one in the world that's not in the whole gang. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? Oh, they said I'm in a gang because I went to the grocery store and ate gang food. Oh, they said I'm in a gang because I go to a school that's coming for me, that sneak this in me. All these schools that sneak this in me. They ain't getting my Scotto. Don't mean I'm about to not go to school. Everybody sneak this at me. They're literally throwing trash and litter all around and garbage all around the earth and putting stakes in them and spray painting all around. So of course they're going to come for me. If they're coming from my planet, they're going to come from my person. You know, they want to curse purse, but you're not going to curse purse. Cleopatra told me that's not what's happening. I'm not having it. You know what I'm saying? People are trying to use my mind to try to come in and actually mine parts of the earth. They think that they're going to drill me. They think that they're going to take the streets. They're not going to take the streets. I'm here to affirm and confirm to the people that, you know, we are equal. Whether you have a lock of melanin or not, if y'all are all listening to the same people who are trying to oppose us, then why aren't you equal? Isn't that what everybody wanted? Martin Luther King said he wants his children to not be um, based to be judged on their content of their color, but their character. We got to be mindful of that. He was a revolutionary. You know, people want to use revolutionaries for bad agendas. That's what they do when it comes to all of these men: Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela. There's a lot of M's. You know what I mean? And we got to be mindful of them that they want that M. They want that man. They want it. That they you know, in Africa they have African mass when men are going through puberty, the masculine, the energy. It's really important that we protect that energy because that's what they're trying to subject. They're trying to subject the feminine energy, the math, the ma'at. We got to be mindful of these things that are trying to be conquered and divide. Each person has masculine and feminine energy in them. We can't let them to try to manipulate us and divide us. We got to be really mindful of what they're doing. It's important that we don't try to send harmful energy to one another, but harmonious energy. You know, in that word harm, you have the word arm. In the word arm, if you add a Y, you have army. And in the word arm, you have the word Armageddon. So we really need to be mindful of our arms. Arms are connected in the shoulders, and the lungs are connected to Gemini energy, which is connected to the wings, which is connected to the wrist where they've been, and the elbows and the limbs. We really got to be mindful of the coat of arms that they're trying to take. They're trying to take the third house is the house of siblings. Of that type of energy, we really need to be careful because the siblings are connected to the sibyls, and there is a book that talks about the sibyls. The sibyls are negas and mermaid-like creatures that are oracle-like, that have information, that have wisdom. So do your research on symbols. In the word search, we have see and we have arch. So we really need to see the arch, and that represents the rainbow. The rain is the sea, and then the arch is the bow. So we want to come with that energy. We want to have those abilities to be able to learn, to be able to grow. We need to know that even when we develop physically or metaphysically, sometimes they try to stomp our growth, but we will not be stomped. In the word stomp, Like how they say stomp the yard, we have the word tom, which is connected to tom, which is connected to tomato, which is connected to atom. So we need to be very careful when people are coming on our presence, when people are coming on our lawns, they're really trying to stomp the yard. We're not going to have that energy. We want to have good energy. You know, we got to be mindful that they're trying to stamp. They have US stamps that have energy on them. We need to be mindful of the post. The post is trying to poach. They're trying to seize. So look up more about sovereignty. Look up more about how to become more sovereign. Get with those communities. You can build with those communities, study with those communities. All of those things are good. Even with communities, religious organizations, they have all of that. We need to be able to raise our vibrations. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things. When it comes to being able to be spiritual. Like I said, in the word spiritual, there is spirit and there's ritual in it. So we need to be mindful of that. In the word spear, we have the word peer, and people are trying to do comparisons. So we really need to be mindful of that. Um, it's important that we have courage, okay? Because that is what raw needs. In the word courage, we have the word raw. We have the word age, like this earth, which is the street age, which is the stage. That's why there's multiple planets, multiple plants, multiple people all on earth, multiple colors, because this is the stage that all the planets and stars come down to project, to project, to travel, to have an experience that is connected to our whole experience as souls on different levels of it, in different systems of it. So we want to be able to project good things. In the word project, they are trying to jack us, they are trying to pro us, they are trying to put us in a lab in projects. So we really need to be mindful of when we use these words. With everything, there is a hidden contract. We need to be mindful with hidden contracts that they're trying to take the high C. The when you close your eyes, it's high C. It's color. It's the orange. So we really need to be careful what they're trying to do with the naval area, with the naval fleet. The opposite color of it is blue. We need to be careful of what they're doing with those opposite colors, trying to come for our solar plexus, trying to come for or where the second brain is in the gut, is in the stomach. We have a cord that's connected from our brain behind our spine that connects to our stomach that has moods that, so when we eat, it goes to our stomachs and it goes through our blood system and it goes to our mind and it gives us information. Like I said, those things that you eat give you information. It's programmed, it's a download, it's a chip. Even the air that we breathe, that gives us information. All of it's information. That's why there's so many people that are trying to pollute the environment so we can be downloading that stuff. So there are things to combat that energy. There are things that we can put on our technology to counteract the radiation. There are things that we can do to cover ourselves, to use crystals, to use protective materials and cloths, to use certain plants in our homes to absorb energy. Even feathers can absorb energy. I learned that peacock feathers is able to take the dust and the microbes in the air and cleanse the air. So I'm sure other feathers can have that ability. A lot of people wear feathers on their hair or jewelry. It represents the Most High's angels, which comes from eagles. So that's important that we utilize them. But we want to make sure we're not getting feathers from people that are just plucking animals and stuff like that. So try to be the change that you want to see. That's what Gandhi said. A lot of these people were manipulated to do certain things. Even people like Gandhi, even powerful people in places that really have hearts, that really love the Most High. Even myself was manipulated to go into certain uh, genres or groups or archetypes. But really, we're all one. So we really all need to work together to find a solution for the place that we live, that we all call our home, that we all share. That's really important for us to do. And I want people to stay vibrant. I want people to keep that glow. I want people to keep that saturation. It's very important. This is a show and tell sat. And I want to, like Ray Charles said, his mother said, scratch, scratch a lie, find a thief. Scratch a lie, find a thief. That's Saturn energy. That's what I'm doing. It don't make sense. Certain things don't add up. It ain't making right. It ain't making sense, but I'm here to make sense because I'm essence. I'm here to make the sense as in a scene, coming with that energy. I'm a rebellious in scene. I'm drinking juice. I'm using oil on my skin. And the word lotion, we have a lot ion. So we need to be careful when we're using these oils and everything like that. A lot of people are online, even in books talking about ways to make oils, ways to grow plants and make oils from them. We need to start coming together and doing things like that, sharing space, sharing gardens, sharing the land. That's important for us. And even, sometimes when you share, people try to invade just by you sharing because they try to share. They try to share like energy like that. They're trying to shade. So we need to be mindful of who we're sharing for, with their intentions, or they good people, or they noble, or they loyal, things like that. Because some people are deceitful. They come with deceptive energy. So we really need to be mindful of people's intentions. And I want people to know that we are omnipresent. We're everywhere. We're just not physically where we're at. We are all around. Our energy is all around. We can be in multiple places at once. We're multifaceted and multiple dimensionals. That's why we multiply. That's what we do here. We're not going to be divided. We're going to multiply. So that's some of the things that I'm doing. Yes, I know the factual information about astrology, but I'm coming with some other information that people aren't talking about. Like I told y'all, in the word Pisces, there's the word piss. In the word Capricorn, there's the word cat. You know what I'm saying? In the word Libra, there's the word bill, live, with and a lot of other signs. So these mean different things. They have other meanings. You know what I'm saying? Um, we need to really be mindful. I was able to think about my whole alignment and connecting with the world and connecting with the months and different things like that. So, there's cardinal signs, there's fixed signs. Well, what's in the word cardinal? Car. What's in the word fix? What's that? That's the creator, that's the father, that's car fix. And then there's the mutable signs. Those are the more flexible signs. In the word mutable, there's mutt, and then there's able, or there's mu, table. So there's different ways that I have been able to look at astrology and think about it on a numerologic level, on a geometric level, and be able to see some things that aren't written in some of the astrology books that I've read, that aren't on some of the astrology websites that I have got information from, that I would like to contribute to the field of astrology so people can be able to utilize it. I'm going to show you guys how I used it, the factual information that has already been put out on astrology, utilizing it for myself, and then what I have learned about astrology and different things that the Most High has told me about it, so I'm able to utilize it and see it in a different way. I want to help myself with that intangible information and actually apply it tangibly and show people how it is manifesting. Because there's one thing to know yourself, and then there's one thing to believe in yourself, and then with that belief, put it into action. So that's the I know, the I believe, the I am. Those things are very important for us to do, um, to utilize who we are. Whether you know astrology or not, it's going to be followed. It's going to be acknowledged. So sometimes there has to be times when we're not always reading it. Read astrology or a raw. You know what I'm saying? That's third eye energy. Sometimes it can be competitive. I realized the app I'm on was just made for me. Just the astrology app is trying to come against me. It's trying to come against the Most High. It's trying to come against energy, but I'm not going to allow it to come against me. I have been foolish. I've allowed it to scan my palms, my hands, which is pH, my information, my fingers, which is giving them a map. So I want other people not to do that. I want to encourage people not to, uh, you know, get, distracted by these things, distracted by these games. It's not only Manchurian candidates that are putting on virtual reality sets. Remember, I told you about virtual reality. Verde, Rojo, green, red. They're trying to see the cloths. They're trying to see the Morocco. They're trying to see energy. Anybody who's playing a video game is essentially, and I don't want to say essentially, but they are working with the military, even just by answering these questions. So we don't need to, they have Doc, they have all of these games. They would love me to mention them. You know what I mean? Why do you want to take the most high? Why do you want to grant auto? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to take almond raw? Why do you want to go and play Sims? It's assimilation. Why do you want to call of dog? Why do you want that? Why do you want the do to be tied? We need to really call lack. We really need to know what we're doing when we play these games or spells. They are actually looking for the real world in our dreams with the things that we eat, with the things that we watch, with the things that we do. They're trying to figure out. They want the map. They're searching and finding because certain things I can't answer because then I would become them if I realize what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I can't always realize. Sometimes we have to sleep, wake, sleep, wake. You know what I mean? Sleep, wake. They try to say was. They try to say saw. They have these spells with us. They reverse them. You know, I was here. I seen. I came. I conquered. Witchcrafts like that, as above, so below, head in the clouds, feet on the ground. These all sound fun. These all sound nice. They all sound esoteric and everything like that. But there's hidden meanings behind them. There's hidden contracts behind them. And it's very powerful energy. Even in the word high priestess or priest, there's the word pre in it, which represents previous information, the present. So we need to be really mindful about what we're doing, how we're communicating. Um, a lot of people want to do good, and a lot of people are just trying to survive. So people in survival are surrendering to these ops, doing some of the things that they say, saying the things that they want to say, wearing the things that they want to wear, eating the food that they want to eat. But really, I want to encourage other people to stand up against people like that because they don't have no good intentions. They don't have no good intentions. They'll even say this to your woman, do this to your woman. Like, they'll have them do all this sweet stuff, but really it's some op shit going on. If you really break it down, like, seriously, like you really gotta like they'll hype up people in my life to do nice things for me and tell them to say certain things to me or do certain things to me. But really, when I put all the words together of what they're doing and I figure out this spell, it's really a curse that they're doing. And then they hype them up, tell them to give me love and respect, and then tell them to disrespect me. So I'm able to figure out all that stuff. I know what's genuine. I know what's not, and really, I pull back the veil on it. I'm able to see, the veil is connected to the masculine energy, the people in my life that are close to me, that I love, that I've lived with. We're born with material veils. I was born with a spiritual veil. So they're really trying to take those people out of my life. They are connected to the Most High. My love, A, born with the veil. My cousin, C, born with a veil. They've been there for me all of my life. They're connected to the author, the authority, the creator. They resonate with my energy, with even their signs combined, or what I have on the planet that's together in alignment by sign, planet, and degree. And what they're really trying to do is take the veil from me. I'm an Orisha dancer. You'll see that they wear veils. You'll see in Nigeria, in Yoruba land, that they wear veils when they're dancing, when they're singing. That's connected to Yoruba, Europe. And I know a lot of people know that. So we really got to be mindful to not let these people try to divide us and say, oh, we're just African. African is just not African. African is European. African is Irish. Orisha, Irish. It's no wonder why Nigeria has Bonny Beach and Ireland has Bonny Beach. So we really need to be mindful. I know bonnets is a trend. I'm currently wearing them, but bonnets have bonds on them. Bond mean good. Bon appetit. It's good. Opposite of it is knob. It's connecting to the knob. So we need to be really mindful of those things. People or have bonds and things like that. People have certificate of deposits, CDs, which is connected to CD RAMs, DC, vitamin D, vitamin C, District of Columbia, things like that. So it's really important for us to know and notice what's really going on. Um, so my mom always say, yeah, people can't copy off of me, but she is, there's the code, there's the pie, and there's the ops. People are emulating from us. That's what really it is. She said, These people, all they can do is take notes. But when they're trying to take notes, they're trying to take your musical notes, your monetary notes. They're trying to take what? Monetary, mon, musical notes, moo. They're trying to take those notes, those not e's, those e tons, and they're trying to take. So yeah, I know people are taking notes and things like that, but they ain't going to take my note. They ain't going to take my energy, my high C energy. That's what they want. So I am tuning, I am turning, and I am focused on changing the atmosphere internally when I'm thinking, when I'm meditating. When I'm meditating, it's time for mediation, and that's what I do internally. That's the medicine that I bring. That's the essence that I bring. That's the energy that I bring. I'm bringing those things. That's what I'm here to say. Um, it's very important that we don't get ported ported by these dimensions. In the word Newport, we have port. They're looking for a port. You know what I'm saying? So what I realized is that they're trying to take whole land masses, and different things like Mecca. In Mecca, we have it's a holy place that Muslims go to worship, but they're throwing rocks at a building that is a square. The square is connected to Saturn. And we need to be really mindful of that. What's really going on? There's a lot of things that are being worshipped. I grew up as a Muslim. I grew up in all realms and religions. We need to be what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Mecca, Mary, Elizabeth, Catherine, those are the European queens. You know what I'm saying? That's the shadow side of it. We really need to be careful about what's going on. They want Mecca. They want Jerusalem. They want Michael Jackson. They want Michael Jordan. They want my siblings whose names start with my sister's name start with it and my brother's name start with a J. They think that if my mother married my father, her initials, like I said, my initials yesterday, I said my initials is JH. My mom's name would have been June Ellis House. They think that they're going to Joker Harley us. They think that they're going to Jackal hide us. We're not giving them that information. I'm not going to spend all my life in jails. I'm not going to spend all my life in hospitals. They're not going to use my energy against me to try to jack me, to try to hide me, to try to hijack me. Why do you think they call it Jackal Hyde? It's a hijack. We really need to be mindful of really what's going on in our communities, in our universities, because they're trying to keep us down on a lower energy. They're trying to keep all the planets low. It ain't just Saturn. That's the main planet that they're trying to keep down. They call it Saturnalia. Research Saturnalia. It's when the Romans wanted to switch places with the Egyptians, and instead of being so-called servants, they wanted to act like they were the gods and have them serve them to the Romans. Some of the Romans would dress up like Egyptian and act like slaves and stuff. So it's a projection that can be manifested, and then it gets projected with satellites to Saturn, where they're trying to keep Saturn down on it. See, saw, saw. We need to be mindful. That's why they have the jigsaw. We know that the jig is up. They can't keep on clothing us. We're not going to keep on falling dumb. You know, we got to be careful, because when they're trying to wake us up, woke, it's a wake. They trying to see if you're going to get up and if you're going to live. Okay, so we really need to be mindful, because sometimes when you wake somebody up, they're not ready for that information, and it can really come back with the truth about how they see in this reality, and it can shock them and it can compose us. So be gentle when you're trying to let your people know certain things that you know, because sometimes they're not ready for that information. We gotta be already on our own at different times. We can't just shock people, even though we want to help them. We must be gentle. We must be patient with them, because we have to understand some of these things are really hard to ingest and really take on and really adhere to, because we have to figure out ways how to apply them. It just can't be information we have and we don't know how to figure out things. So, what we're going to talk about is, yeah, we're going to talk about the problem, we're going to talk about the solution. P.S. We're going to have that information. PlayStation. We're going to talk about solutions and problems. Sweet potato. We're going to talk about these things. They want the yams. They want the sweet potato pie. The yams is May, like the Mayflower. The yam is Maryam. That's who Mother Mary is called in the Quran. Mary Yam. So we really need to be mindful of that energy. We really need to know that, they're trying to look for things and search and find the root of things when we're ingesting them, when we're combining them. Um, there's a lot of things that they do even when we're walking. You know what I mean? Even when we're moving, they're mapping us through steps through the rubber shoes that we have. Rubber is wrapped around electronic wires such as gold, silver, copper mostly used because they use that as a conductor. So they're really trying to use these wires and the gold in us and the light in us and the copper energy in us to really conduct trips when we travel to try to derail us. So we really need to stay on track. It's time for that. We don't need to be distracted. People are trying to try the king. That's why they have trafficking. They're trying to go against us, but we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let them try to take us away from our environments. We are going to be in our higher vibrations. We're going to be in the Holy Trinity. We are going to be connected to the divine trine of every element, and we're not going to let them take that tri energy and bring it down to negative energy with the words. We're not going to let them quiet the queen. We're not going to let them empty the empress. We're not going to let them do these type of things that can bring harm to us just because it's opposing energy with the same frequencies and vibrations. This is our nation. This is our natural. This is our ion. This is our environment, and we are not giving up without a fight. That's what I want to inspire you all with. I want to affirm it. I want to decree it. I wanted to speak it into existence, put it in the atmosphere because we are all here. We are one. We are together and we are united. We will not be conquered and divided. We are here and we are live. We are living and we are going to exist. And that is why I'm bringing and sharing my essence.